So I've been talking about customers, customer loyalty. I've been talking about social media and how people interact with the optician, with the retailer. At the end, I was talking quite a lot about fashion retailers and how much value they give to optical frames, or largely to sunglasses, and that it's kind of frustrating that fashion retailers don't necessarily place as much value and importance on sunglasses as they do on other products, and why they would assume that it's okay for somebody to spend $200-300 on a shirt, but then only buy some crappy sunglasses that are going to fall apart in their hands and just look horrible. And I was saying that this, to me, is a real damage to their brand, because me as a consumer, if I see an associated product, even if it's not the key product, I still measure that against the brand. So I think it's really important that fashion retailers, whether it's their own product or products they're buying in, take the time to seek the proper optical products. And also, us in the industry, we kind of assume that people can tell the difference between a good product and a bad product. It's not always the case, and it's natural that we feel like that, but perhaps we should be more open and available and accessible to people coming to us and saying, well, what is a good optical product? Or I like this product, should I be buying it? And I'm very, very open to helping people, especially fashion retailers, find sunglasses that are on a par with their brand, whether it's Kirk & Kirk or whether it's any other brand. Okay, so what kind of consulting do we do? Well, Kirk & Kirk have done a lot of work in the last year or two working with other brands. We do various different things. We do, first of all, design. So we'll design to another company's brief. So as I mentioned before, and forgive me if I'm covering stuff you've already heard, we worked for, and we're still working for on an ongoing basis, for a company called iLike, which is a group of opticians in France. There are about 30 independent opticians, all high-end, all very independent, but sharing core values. And we were given a brief which was very different to the kind of frames that we make for ourselves, which was all about espousing their values, iLike's values, into a collection of frames which they could sell, which would sit alongside designer frames, because they carry brands like Kirk & Kirk, like Teo, like Annie Valentin, like Cuberarm, would sit alongside them and not compete with them, but still give a message that people could understand in terms of what their quality was, what their design ethic was, and how that reflects the brand values of iLike as a group, but also for each individual store within the iLike club. So we design. We also do manufacture. So we don't actually manufacture ourselves. We don't have a factory, but we will oversee production. And that could be production in Europe, which we've done for a number of companies. We've done that for an American company, notably recently. Or it could be in the Far East, which we've done before for people as well. We know a number of factories, and we can find an appropriate factory for the type of product and type of budget and type of quantities that the retailer wants. We've also done marketing, branding, communications advice. So the kind of the global package, if you like, from designing the collection to manufacturing it, and making sure that it's communicated in the right way, and then actually sold out to the right people by the right people. So we have sales networks as well that we can plug into, so we consult on lots of different things. Local Pigeon, thank you for the question. How do we measure success with quality, fashion, etc.? Good question. Thank you. The obvious ways are, how many frames you sell, but actually it's not really about that. And I think also, as we've realised in launching a new company, there are lots of other gauges and lots of other measures that you need to take into consideration, and lots of criteria for the retailer, be it an optician or otherwise. Lots of criteria in what makes them actually buy something and when they buy it. It's not, when you buy a new collection, you have to spend $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 buying in that collection, because good companies have minimums. They want collections presented in a certain way so that they can ensure that they'll sell through for the optician, which benefits everybody. But it's an investment, and not everybody is always ready when they want to make that investment. So getting good feedback, interesting feedback, positive and negative, is really, really important. And we measure our success by the level of interest that people actually have in the product and in the company. So even if people are saying, well, it's not quite right for me because this, that, or the other, or I don't like it because if you did this, it might be more interesting for us. That's great, because we hear it, we decide what we do with that information, but it's feedback. It means that people aren't indifferent to what you're doing. That's very important. Obviously, people buying it, but also people wearing it, people being seen in your product is very important too, and the integrity of that. We all know that it's very easy to buy the affections of somebody by giving them glasses or paying them to wear your glasses, and then, there happens to be a cameraman standing nearby. Well, I don't really like that very much, and I think it's a sad reflection on current society that it's so celebrity driven. But there are tastemakers and opinion formers out there who go out and buy glasses because they like them and because they are happy to spend their hard-earned money on them. And that, to me, is a great honour and a great reflection of success. If somebody is prepared to spend their hard-earned money, whether it's a celebrity or anybody else, whether it's somebody wealthy who, $600 for a pair of glasses is nothing, or whether it's somebody who's saved up and aspires to owning a pair of our glasses, I'm very proud that somebody would be prepared to spend their hard-earned money wearing a pair of Kirk & Kirk frames. So there's my answer to that question. Somebody asked there, I've lost the question now, but somebody asked about the difference between European frames and Asian frames. Okay, now I have to warn you here, you've got me started. This is a subject that's very close to my heart, and I am not in any way, I'm not evangelical about this, but I have strong opinions about it. The most important part of this is honesty and integrity. Transparency in today's environment, whether it's manufacturing or retailing. Transparency is so important. It is so easy to find out where a frame has come from, what the origins of a product are, whether it's a frame or clothing, a garment. It's easy. You can go on the internet and find out. Be honest. The question was, is there a difference between European frames and Asian frames? Well, yes, there is, but there's a difference between different types of European frames. So you can get great frames made in France. You can get terrible frames made in France. You can get great frames made in Italy and terrible frames made in Italy. And exactly the same is true of Asia. So I've, on my various visits to various factories in China, for example, I have seen the most beautiful frames being made. I've seen the most incredible people working, polishing, hand-making frames, better than I've seen in Europe. It doesn't mean that all frames are like that, and it doesn't mean that all frames are terrible when they come out of cheap factories in China. But you get what you pay for most of the time. There are a few things going on in our industry right now which are a real problem and could cause massive, massive headaches for us. And please listen up to this and digest it and discuss it with the people that you share in common with me in our industry. There is a terrible tendency at the moment to produce frames in Asia, or in cheap factories I should say, and then to finish them off in European factories so that you can say made in Italy or made in Europe, wherever it is. I'll come back to some of your questions later. Thank you. These are great questions, and please ask them again if I don't answer them immediately. There's a terrible tendency to be dishonest with the retailer and with the consumer. I have even noticed recently, and you'll see me getting quite irate about this, I have even noticed designers, and I use that word loosely, being honest to the extent with the retailers that they will say that their frames are made in China, but it's written made in France on the side of the frame, or made in Italy on the side of the frame, or some other frame, or designed in Copenhagen, or whatever. Something else which implies that the frame has a certain quality which it doesn't. And actually telling the retailer that what they're buying is a frame that will lie to their consumers. Is it me? I mean, that is just nuts. It's absolutely nuts. If you do that, if you treat your consumers with contempt, they will treat you with contempt. They will not buy a single thing from you. They won't have any confidence in you. And consumer confidence is absolutely everything. We make our frames 100% in France from start to finish. I'll show you. You'll forgive me if I'm covering some ground that you saw before, but I'll just take out one frame. This beautiful Alex sunglass. The frame is made from acrylic. The acrylic is made in Italy. The frame is made in France, 100% from start to finish. So it leaves Italy as a sheet of acrylic. It goes to the factory in France. It's made. The jewellery, and here you can see this is a silver lion, a sterling silver lion, is made by craft artisan jewellers in England. It leaves England, it goes to France, it's placed in the frame with resin. It's not just glued in, it's resined in. Everything is done properly. And that has a price which we charge on to our retailers, which we think is a fair price. The retailers then charge it on to the consumers, which the consumers think is a fair price. But they have the knowledge, they're informed where the product is from, how it's made, where it's made, and they can make a decision. They can make their own decision based on honesty and truth as to whether they think that product is worth buying. That is the most important thing to me. There's another issue as well, which we've got. Are there any reps there listening? Can you make yourselves, anyone known to me there? Is my good friend Louis, are you listening? Are you with us? Richard Muha, maybe? Are you there? Okay, all right. I'm going to guess that there are some reps listening. There's been a change recently in the way that reps interact with suppliers, design companies. So, there used to be industry standards about the percentage commission that a rep would earn. I'm touching on dangerous ground here, I know, I'm well aware of it. In the last couple of years, the commission that reps have been demanding is going up. So why is that? Is that because they're doing a load more work? Is that because they're better at their job? Is that because they're bringing something different that wasn't there before? No, it's not. The reason for that is because a great number of frame companies are making larger margins because they're not honest about where their frames are coming from. They're reducing their prices a little bit because they're making them in China, but they're still making massive margins, and they're improving their margins and increasing their margins. And the reps know this because a lot of the reps are very, very close to the people manufacturing and designing, know what's going on, and they're saying, well, if you're making more money, then we're making more money as well. And it's skewing our industry. It's causing a complete imbalance that makes it very, very difficult for all levels of our industry to achieve what they ought to be achieving. It also creates an atmosphere of mistrust, which we have to get beyond. We have to move beyond that. None of us, whether it's designers, manufacturers, reps, retailers, you're not in business very long if you're stupid, or if you're rude, or if you're wrong. We need to be sitting down together, all of us, talking honestly together and combating this dishonesty and this stupidity, this rank stupidity that threatens our industry. Okay? I don't feel threatened by it. I'm honest. We produce our frames in France, 100%. We have a good market. Our retailers trust us and they buy from us, and our consumers buy from us as well. But how long can an industry carry on treating its consumers with a lack of respect and expect to survive. Because there are plenty of people that want to attack this industry and will take every opportunity. Let's not give them that opportunity. There are, I can't actually, I'd love to kind of scroll back on some of the questions because I've seen lots of questions coming through. And I apologise because I've missed them. I didn't write them down. There's some great questions coming through. Please ask them again. Yes, reps should be involved in this dialogue, and there are some great reps out there. We all know some brilliant personalities who would come on to dailyoptician.com, come onto the Meerkat, and do a talk like this. It's fabulous for me. It's a great opportunity, and I'm very grateful for this. But there are lots of people should do it and come out and have this conversation. Can you? Somebody has just asked me if they can send me their prescription and we can do a frame for them. I won't say what your name is. Thank you for that. I'm flattered that you'd like us to do that. It raises a really interesting question. Internet sales, buying your frames on the internet, and more importantly, buying your lenses on the internet. Opticians have been and continue to be very diffident, very distrustful of the internet and the threats that it poses to their industry. It is inevitable that people will be able to get their eyes tested. They can already. You can get a vision test. Soon they'll probably be able to do some sort of health screening through the internet in various forms. It will only improve. It will only get better. Right now, I thoroughly recommend to my friend Mario, who just wrote to me on Twitter, that you go and see a good optician, and that you get your eyes tested with your good optician, which I think you have done, because I think you've got your prescription already, and they advise you, and hopefully you'll go to an optician who stocks Kirk and Kirk, and you can get your lenses put into a Kirk and Kirk frame. If not, you can order the frame from us, and we'll do trials where you can try the frame at home. If you like it, brilliant, keep it. If you don't like it, send it back to us. And then you can take it to a good independent optician and get quality lenses put in, get it well glazed properly by someone who takes care of it. And I hope that answers your question in a very full way to what was a very simple question. But by all means, we can offer you advice on where and how to get your frames glazed, and what frames will work for you. Really happy to do that, and you'll find us very accessible. I personally can be emailed on jason@kirkandkirk.com. You can ask me any questions about any of these subjects. I'll always come back to you very quickly. If I don't, it's because I haven't got your email. So come back and ask me questions. Should we be calling out perpetrators? Well, I haven't called out the perpetrators. I think it's enough. It's enough at the moment to say to these people, well, we know you're out there. What would be brilliant is if opticians stopped buying their products. If I had some really interesting conversations with opticians who have told me that they're buying these products because they don't say made in China on the side of them. And I'm sorry, that's just stupid. You guys know who you are. Please stop doing that. Tell the people that are selling you those products to be honest. If they've got a well-made product that justifies the price, it will sell. Consumers know that the iPhone that I'm using to make this call and to do this tweet, this Meerkat, is made in China. I don't mind. It's great quality. Chinese people make great things. That's fine. Make a judgment. That's what I want to see. Mario, great. I'm glad I managed to answer your question. Jason@kirkandkirk.com. That's it. Thank you. All right. So we had some other questions there as well, which were really good, and I got carried away in my own little haze there. Look at this. We've got so many people getting involved. Thank you. This is fantastic. Tell me where you guys are from. Are you all opticians? Is there anybody there who's in the fashion business? Because I really like to talk about glasses and fashion and sunglasses and fashion. Make yourselves known to me. It'd be great to have a chat with people and to see your perspective and hear your perspective. I don't really want to talk at you, although I don't really have much choice, seeing it's a bit of a one-way video this. But I don't really want to do that. I want to hear what you've got to say and answer your questions. There are some great videos showing frames being made online. I don't have any myself, although no, I don't have access to any myself. I think that you can find a good one. I think Masunaga do a really nice one. Have a look at Masunaga, Masunaga. They make beautiful frames, and they have a nice video about how their frames are made. Hey, hello, Florida. How you doing? I can scroll. I'm so sorry. I tried to scroll before and I couldn't. So I apologise for that. That's my stupidity, my sausage fingers. Okay, so let's go back and look at some of these questions. We've dealt with that. Does social media help with transparency? I'm going back to this question about transparency. Yes, social media does help with transparency. I think it's a fairly simple answer, really. I think that there's a great opportunity to discover, to talk to people. Yeah, I mentioned this before, and you'll forgive me because I'm going over some ground that you may have heard earlier in my previous session. I've had the pleasure of talking to and even meeting some of my musical heroes from when I was a kid, from when I was a student. When you kind of, you put a record on the record player, and God, that makes me sound so old. And you play it as a kid, and you think, "Oh, guys, fantastic!" And you might see your heroes on Top of the Pops or something, and you think, "Wow, I wonder how they live." You imagine the houses they live in and what they do and where they go. Now, you can just pop onto social media and you can find them and drop them an email, and if you're lucky, they write back to you. And I was saying before that, some of these guys that I used to listen to their music and imagine their world, they're my friends now, and it's brilliant. It's great. So there's an access and a transparency that the social networks have provided for us, which is fantastic, and is only a positive, should only be a positive thing. Mario asked me to write our website down. The website is at kirkandkirk.com. All right, are you seeing the end of my finger? Is that how this works? If I'd have had a very cool tattoo right on the end of my finger, that might have worked. Kirk and Kirk. Dot. There you go. Maybe you guys get that. So, what else have we got here? How do we call that? Perpetrators. Does this happen on the lens side too? Interesting. Lenses. Are people honest? Are there the same issues with lenses? I don't understand or know the lens industry as well as I know the frame industry. I know that a lot of companies manufacture their lenses in remote sites, and that when you send a scan or a request for a set of lenses, it goes off to the other side of the world and is very, very quickly manufactured to a very high standard, I'm sure, and sent back here. I don't know whether there's any secrecy or cloak and dagger work in the lens side. I'm sure there is, but your optician will be able to guide you on a good quality lens. And if your optician can't guide you with confidence on what a good lens is for you, then they're not a good optician, and you need to go somewhere else. This is, lenses, it's a really obvious thing to say, it's a truism. Lenses are so important. I mean, it's the most important part of the frame. And getting good medical advice is the reason that we have to protect our profession, and understand why it is that people invest so many years in training and education and learning about how to become an optician, how to be a good optician. You will know the good ones. I thoroughly recommend going to a good independent optician who people tell you has a good reputation. Just like virtually everything else we do these days, you can find out online what sort of reputation an optician has. You can check out their references and check out their reviews, and I'm sure you can find some good answers. And I'm sure there are plenty of good opticians working within groups or chains, but I would always recommend that you go to an independent optician. Yeah, that's how I feel. Sorry about that to any of the chains that are listening. Hi there, St. Pete, Florida. How you doing? Puerto Rico, fantastic. Hello. Wow. Well, isn't this brilliant? The opportunity. I'm sitting here in Brighton, and I've got the opportunity to talk to Mario in Puerto Rico. Brilliant. Thank you for joining us. Look, Mario, let me show you. This is specially for you. This is where I work. This is Brighton on the south coast of England. If we had a pair of binoculars or a telescope or very, very good lenses, you could see France, where you're looking, about 20 miles across that water. So this is my office. This is where I work. Nice view. I guess the views that you have over there are probably somewhat more spectacular. Maybe I'll get the chance to see it one day. But I'm delighted that you could join us. Fantastic. So what do opticians retail our frames for? I think in America they're about $600, between $600 and $700, I believe. It depends. So the prices for, let me show you. Let me show you this beauty. So this is Eleanor sunglass. This is what we call a classic pin. It's not a precious metal. It's a kind of an architectural style design, and that's one price. If you have the pins here that are sterling silver, they're another price. And you'll forgive me, I'm sounding a little bit vague, but I don't have all the prices of all the different currencies in front of me, and it varies from country to country. But I think they're about 600 to 700. Perhaps one of my retailers who's listening could tell us. That's the silver, and then you can also have them in 9-carat gold. There's the stallion in 9-carat gold, and you can choose which animal you have, in which material, on which frame, in which colour frame. And so yeah, so the prices vary a little bit between those. But importantly, we set our retail prices, and we entrust our retailers to sell and respect those retail prices. And if ever you find our frames online, we manage very, very carefully the people with whom we work online, and they will only be sold at exactly the same price that you can buy it in a retail bricks and mortar store. That's very, very important. Somebody's asking me what musicians wear our glasses. We have some fantastic. This is only we're just about to launch our second collection in October. So although we've been designing frames for 20 odd years, this is only our second collection coming out as Kirk and Kirk. Our first collection is the only one that's out there right now, and it's only been out for about 6 or 8 months. But we've had some amazing people buying our glasses independently. And when I say that, I mean that we haven't just like gone out and given them a pair of glasses and said wear these and get photographed in them. So Elton John has bought several pairs of our glasses, and Morrissey has bought our glasses. I'm going to say a big shout out and a thank you to LAI Works, who retail our glasses in Los Angeles, and have been big supporters of ours and friends of ours for many, many years. And it's LAI Works who have retailed our glasses to a lot of the big stars that have worn them over the years. So thank you to our friends over there. Who else? Well, Sharon Stone. She's not a singer, but she's worn our glasses, and she was she chose to wear them for some advertising campaign for a clothing brand called Airfield, an Austrian brand. We knew nothing about that. That was her choice to wear them. Who else? Fatboy Slim wears them. Steve First, the brilliant comedy actor. Lots and lots of people wear them. Gary Clark, musician, producer. Lots of people. Zoe Ball, radio and TV presenter. Tons and tons of people. I'm sure for those of you that I've missed off and who are friends that are listening. David McCormont, fantastic musician, brilliant singer. Apologies if I missed you out, but cool. There you go. So there's a kind of a wide range of styles. But, you know, the thing about the whole celebrity thing is certainly in the UK at the moment, the kind of dumbing down of media and the absolute necessity for some two-bit talentless star to be wearing your glasses. Oh, did I sound bitter? To be wearing your glasses because you've given them to them or paid them to wear them, and selling glasses like that is just horrendous. I mean, there are some, it's everywhere, but there are some programs on the TV right now in the UK which dominate British television, which make celebrities out of completely talentless people, and it's just, well, that's a different issue. That's nothing to do with glasses. But when they become important in selling your product, it's like, oh, really? So one of the things that's great for us is to have a relationship with the people who are wearing our glasses. So if it's a celebrity, then that's great. If it's somebody like you and me, that's brilliant as well. And everybody's pound or dollar is appreciated, that they've worked hard for that and they've parted with it to wear our glasses. But what I love is that when everybody is wearing our glasses because they want to wear them, because they love them. A lot of the celebrities that we work for, people like Kirsten Vangsness from Criminal Minds, bands like Morcheeba, are people that we've had relationships with for years, and you come back to us because they want to see what we're doing, and that's the kind of loyalty that we want. We want to earn the respect and time of people to come back and see what we're doing next time. So I don't want people to buy our glasses just because we're Kirk and Kirk or because they're our friends. We want them to buy them because they love them, and because what we do time and time again excites them. There we go. That's what we want to do. What's our relationship with lens manufacturers? We have good relationships with lens manufacturers. We did a collaboration with Transitions last year, where Transitions used Kirk and Kirk to promote their lenses. And for those of you who don't know, Transitions lenses are the lenses that change colour in the light. So when you're in a bright sunny environment, they'll go dark and act as sunglasses, and when you're indoors, they go clear, and you just wear them as a normal prescription frame. Great, beautiful quality lenses, and we were very happy to be associated with them and to work with them for a period of time, which was absolutely brilliant. I've got good personal relationships with a lot of the lens people that I've known over the years, especially from when we've had our own shops. It's a tremendously complicated and intricate world. When I see the numbers of choices, I'm just completely baffled and astounded, and my hat goes off to opticians who manage to stay on top of all these incredible choices. But all the more reason why the consumer needs a good, well-educated optician who stays up to date. Do I have an opinion whether opticians should require certification? Yes. It's as simple as that. Opticians train. I mean, it's different in different countries, and I know that it's difficult to put a global answer on this. Although maybe that is the solution, to have a global standard. I don't need to say this to the opticians that are out there, but to those of you who aren't opticians, you can tell so much about a person's general health from a good, thorough medical eye check. And if you're not getting that, you're missing out on a lot of health screening. That's one of the most important reasons why you should go to a good, independent, well-equipped, well-educated optician. And there should be some sort of certification that shows you that that's the case. Are we selective with the opticians that sell our frames? Yes, we are. We want opticians who care about the products that they carry, that they offer to the public, and that are passionate and know how to explain that, know how to translate that, get that across to the public. So there's so much in a pair of our frames: the way they're manufactured, the materials they're made from, how they feel when you wear them, how they make you feel when you wear them. These are all things that you don't get by simply looking at a frame on a shelf. And we need opticians who have the intelligence and the eloquence to get that information across to their clients and translate that passion to them. You know, the sale of a frame, the relationship with a frame, doesn't start and finish when the consumer is in the optician's store or boutique, however you want to look at it. It starts long before that. Your relationship with your frame starts when you see it online, or you see someone wearing it, or you see a photograph of it, or your friend tells you about this great new brand that they've discovered. Everybody is an advocate, should be an advocate for your brand, and that advocacy is so important. When they buy the frame, when they leave, your consumer is an ambassador for you. Not only for us, for the ambassador wearing Kirk & Kirk, but also for the store where they bought the frames. So that's the biggest asset that you've got, especially in these days of social media where reviews are incredibly important. The biggest asset you've got is the person that leaves your store and tells other people about it. I had a call about half an hour before I started doing this meerkat from a friend of mine called Raymond. I don't know if he's involved, if he's following this, he might well be, who was one of the first ever people to buy one of our glasses. That was about 20 years ago. And Raymond, I speak to Raymond, I don't know, every few years. He'll get in contact, or I'll get in contact with him. We've remained firm friends, and he said to me that in the time since he's bought his first pair of our glasses, he's never worn any other pair of glasses. And he said every day I have your brand firmly emblazoned on my face, and I go out there and I look through it and I see people, and people see me through it, and it's a part of my life. And I found that really, really moving. It's true and it's kind of obvious, but it's lovely to be told that people actually feel that. So, I finished the previous meerkat talking about emotion. I think I started this one talking about emotion. The emotion that a product or a brand, and in this case a specific pair of glasses, makes you feel is the most important thing. In these days, communications with consumers, relationships with the consumers are so sophisticated. I mean, I try to keep up with how we should be communicating with our clients, how we should be communicating with our clients on both levels, the retailer and the consumer. The reality is that it's such a minefield of sophisticated opportunity that it's impossible to be right at the forefront of everything that's going on. But what I will say is that the key word right now is emotion. And it's the emotions that you can evoke with your clients on whatever level, which stay with them. It's not the pair of glasses that stays in the person's mind forever. If you can create an emotion, when you have a meal, when you have food, good food creates an emotion. And that stays with you, how you feel when you eat that food. And it's the same with the glasses. It's the same with the pair of Kirk & Kirks. If you feel a certain way, you'll remember that. My friend in Hastings, Minnesota. Hi, what's the size range of your in your glasses? Do you mean how many frames in our range? If you mean how many frames in our range, we have 8 optical shapes, and each of those comes in 6 colours with 4 different animal pins. Each of those coming in 2 different colours. And we also have 6 sunglasses in our collection. Do you mean the size of lens? The eye size? Most of our frames are pretty big, because that's kind of what's fashionable at the moment in our aspect of the market. Although I sense that frames are starting to get a little tiny bit smaller and a little tiny bit thinner. But it's a very slow movement. And, when we're working in acrylic, having a volume of material is a great advantage because it allows you to show off the beautiful finish. I don't know if you can see from this screen, but this has got a metallic finish. Absolutely beautiful. So the more material you have, the more you can show that off. Okay, Mario, you're great because you're asking me really direct questions. Fantastic. But I will be diplomatic and discreet when I answer them. You'll forgive me. Lovely. What's my opinion on Muscat? Now, thankfully, you've picked out a brand that I think is superb. So don't ask me any more questions about other brands. But I think Muscat is a great brand. It's got integrity. It's a family business. They do what they do, which is retro vintage frames, and they do it very, very well. Baum Vision as a distribution company are a superb company who act with integrity. Shane Baum is a good friend of mine and someone for whom I have a lot of respect. He's created a great business. So fortunately, my answer to your question, Mario, is I think that Muscat are a great company. And if you're in New York, go and visit their store, their main store, which is absolutely beautiful, really lovely and full of heritage. Enormous respect for that brand. Do European opticians differ from American opticians? Well, some do. When I started in optics, I was back in '92, and when I first started working in France, for example, selling to French opticians, there weren't many opticians that we could target because we had a really out there product for the time, and there weren't very many progressive, creative opticians. And we started off, like in our first 6 months, we sold to about 3 places or something. Right now, the target market, potential market in France is somewhere near 200 opticians with some really beautiful stores. In America, the change in the last 20 years has been phenomenal. And some of my favourite stores, please don't ask me, some of my favourite stores are in America. I love the unique branding that some of the stores have, the unique identity. I love the communication, the personalities that are involved. It's taken the best opticians from Europe and from America have taken optics into another realm. It's fashion, it's design, it's playful, it's ludic, it's passionate, it's enjoyable. That's what it should be about. Everybody should love their job, but I want people to love our industry. My grandpa wanted people to love our industry. My dad wanted people to love our industry. That's how I feel. And I think that the best European opticians and the best American opticians achieve that. What we need is more dialogue between them all, and the sharing of challenges and opportunities. Okay, what emotions does Kirk and Kirk evoke? Well, I hope I probably answered that already in what I've been babbling on about for the last nearly another hour. Have I really talked for this long? Passion, excitement. I want people to feel, when you put on a pair of glasses, you express yourself through those glasses. You express your personality, you express your mood, or you might want to portray a certain personality. If you're going to a certain environment, let's say it's a business meeting, you might want to look businesslike, you might want to look powerful, you might want to look understated. So you choose the pair of glasses that does that for you, that best does that for you. If you're going to a social event, you might want to stand out, or you might want to blend in. You might want to be noticed, or you might want to be completely like a wallflower. But Kirk and Kirk should give you the opportunity to evoke the emotions, portray the personality, express your mood the way you want to. And there should be enough variety in the existing collection and the collections to come. And we could talk a little bit about the collections to come in a little while, to allow you to do that. And we know we've got it right when you put the glasses on and you feel, if I have one word, it should make you feel special. That's it. If they don't make you feel special, you're not wearing the right glasses. So, okay. dailyoptician.com, upcoming. Yeah. So, you know what? I've talked for so long. And all you guys, you're sitting there, you're in America and Puerto Rico. Do you realise that it's time for English people to go to bed now? Okay, so we're in a slightly different time zone. You know, we go to bed early. We have our tea at 4. We have our dinner at 6. We go to bed at 7. That's what we do. So, I've talked for... Oh, you asked me the question. What can we expect with your upcoming styles? Okay, well, thank you for asking that question. I'm glad you're interested. You can expect the unexpected. The new collection, which will launch at Las Vegas, will be exhibiting at Vision Expo West in Las Vegas, and will be exhibiting at Silmo in Paris. I'm not going to tell you too much about the new collection now, except that it'll be different to the Vivarium collection, which is the collection that I'm wearing. But you will recognise the design traits of Karen and I in the collection. So you'll recognise our signature in the way that it works, but it'll be different. It will allow an optician to put 2 different collections on their shelves which represent a brand in different ways. So it allows the brand to tell a story and allows the optician to tell a story through a brand. I think it's one of the most interesting things that we've ever done. What I ask for is that opticians and fashion boutiques and consumers, but particularly the opticians that come to Silmo and Las Vegas, come and check it out. Give us a little bit of your time and have a look. And if you like it, brilliant, buy it, put it on your shelves. If you don't like it or it's not for you, absolutely fine. I respect that. People can have their opinion. But I'm very excited about it, as is Karen. I'm going tomorrow to see the very first samples at the factory in France. And we'll have our first sets of samples at the end of July, and then we'll be hell for leather working on all our marketing and merchandising. So yeah. What? Sorry, I'm hesitating because I'm reading some great questions. We our styles, in answer to the question, to the person who knows they've just asked me this question, our styles never ever copy anybody else's styles, and I know that's not exactly what you're saying. There will be our shapes are always individual but easy to wear. We don't particularly look at what other people are doing. It's not really relevant to us. We plough our own furrow, we do our own thing. In the hope that people will like it. We're influenced by a lot of the same things that influence fashion designers and other sunglass optical designers, and so we end up with a response to the same questions that people pose themselves. We just answer it in a different way, and so you'll see frames that you'll be able to, if you like, you'll be able to categorize, because I think people need to do that. But they'll be different. They'll be unique, and I hope that you'll enjoy them, particularly you, Mario, and you need to let me know. I'm going to do this here, so you can't see my finger, but I'm typing. I've got to thank you guys, because I've really, really enjoyed doing this, and it's been a lovely interactive response, which is what I was hoping for. People have asked me questions, people have responded to my answers. The questions have been great, intelligent, searching, sometimes made my life difficult, which is great. That's my email address. And if any of you guys have any questions about anything that we've discussed or anything that we haven't discussed yet, I'm really accessible and open to get involved in conversations and to answer you. What do I think about Peter Cech? I think that Arsenal are the greatest football team you ever seen. And I think we're going to win the league next season, with or without Peter Cech. Mario, yes, I'm wearing the Vivarium collection. And Local Pigeon, thank you, because you've been absolutely brilliant and you've been involved, and I really, really appreciate it. DailyOptician.com, thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to share some time and share my thoughts with you guys. Thank you to everybody who's contributed. I know some of you out there are listening and haven't actually been able to ask questions or haven't wanted to ask questions. That's absolutely great. I really appreciate you putting your time into this. I can see the numbers of the people that have been involved, and it's phenomenal. So thank you all very much. I'm going to go and have my tea and go to bed, put my pyjamas on, and do what good English boys are doing now. And I look forward to hearing from you soon. Perhaps see a lot of you in Las Vegas and see you at Silmo. Thank you very much. Look forward to seeing you soon.